today I have another spring swatch and review for you. Today we're going to look at swatches of the new China Glaze collection for spring 2022. It is called Mystic Bloom, and as with most China Glaze collections in the spring, we have 8 new shades. These are all of the more kind of sheer or glittery or metallic types of shades. So we don't have any polishes in this collection that are just creams or just kind of like your standard cream bases with glitters. These are all shimmer and metallic shades. Most of them are pretty sheer. Most of these, with the exception of I think 1 or 2, maybe 1, I'm going to be showing you in 3 coats. So again, this is their collection for spring 2022. I'm not always super psyched about China Glaze spring collections. For some reason, for me, I am always most into their fall collections, and I usually get into their holiday collections as well, although I'm really looking forward to their summer collection that just dropped. But springs, I don't know, like spring collections in general for me, I tend to be a bit pickier, and I think that I've been so on like the pastel train that I wasn't really sure how I felt about these. But again, I'm not sure how I feel about any China Glaze collection until I see it swatched or I actually swatch it myself, and so that's what I have for you today. So if you are interested in that, keep on watching. As usual, if you are not subscribed to my channel, please do that. Make sure you hit the notification bell so that you never miss a new video. Obviously, I have the spring collections going on. I already have a couple of summer collections that I'm already working on, and then of course I have my very polished series, which that is still ongoing, and I have some other videos coming soon, including my nail care video, which I feel like I have been promising for a while, but I am so worried about getting every detail right that is why you don't have it yet. So, but I do have all of that going on. You can also find me over on Instagram. You can also email me. I will put that information down below, as well as where you can pick up this collection. I purchased my collection from Polish Pick, where you can get China Glazes for half the retail price, really reasonable shipping, really fast shipping. Polish Pick, Diane, she is amazing. So I definitely recommend, and I think the last time I was on there, I think all of the shades were available. So we are going to go ahead and take a look at the collection, and then I will give you some of my thoughts, and then I want to know what you guys think about this collection. So let's just go ahead and get into the swatches. So the first shade is called Mystic Dawn. China Glaze describes this as a shimmering nude with a hypnotic blue undertone. So as we get into the first coat here, you can see that this one is quite sheer. This is an intentionally sheer polish. A number of polishes in this collection are. So what you are looking at here is 1 coat. I'm going to build it up for you in 3. This, again, is intentionally sheer. So this one gives you a nice wash of color in 2 to 3 coats. This is another one that you could use as a topper. And I have to say, I really enjoyed this one. I think that these beautiful sheer colors, I love sheers in general, are great for this time of year. And that beautiful shimmer that you see here, not only does it build in 3 coats, but when the polish dries down and you add top coat, you don't lose that shimmer. Sometimes that happens, not with this one. I think that this one is actually really beautiful and a great way to start off the collection. The next polish is called Instant Sparks, and China Glaze describes this as a pink holographic glitter. So I want to go on record as saying I think that China Glaze's descriptions for their polishes are some of the worst. I'm sorry. This is clearly not a pink holographic glitter. Some of the flakes that you do see look slightly holographic, but they give you more of a silver look. Either way, I think this one is really pretty. It reminds me of rose gold. To me, the pink almost leans more rose gold, and even though there's a bit of a a frostiness to this one. I actually really like it. I am going to build it up for you again in 3 coats, but again, I think this is one that you could wear in 2 to 3 coats depending on your preference. When I first sat down to swatch and I just looked at the bottles, I assumed that this would be one of my favorites. It actually didn't make my top 2 favorites, but I still think that it's a beautiful option. It doesn't dry down super textured either, so you won't have any issues there. Again, I think this is another really lovely option for spring. Next up, we have Pretty as a Petal. China Glaze describes this one as a light pink cross between a frost and a matte. So when I sat down to swatch these, I was very pleasantly surprised to discover that this is, in fact, a matte polish. I think that China Glaze does matte polishes very well. This one actually reminded me a lot of the polishes that we saw from Sinful Colors over the holiday season, where they had that collection of matte polishes that have a little bit of shimmer. That's where I'm assuming China Glaze gets the frost part of their description from. Either way, this was absolutely one of my favorites of the collection. I am showing it to you in 3 coats. Again, I think that this is one, depending on preference, that you could wear in 2 coats or 3 coats, depending on your preference. I'm showing you both so that you see what they look like. But again, I really love this one. I think, again, that this is a great option for spring. I think it's the perfect color for spring. Of course, you can wear it other times if you want to, but just another really beautiful matte polish from China Glaze. I think that they do those super well. There's actually another one coming up soon in this collection. So again, another winner from this collection. The next polish is called Fairytale Bliss. This is described by China Glaze as a romantic pink shimmer. So this one is actually my absolute favorite of the collection. When I first saw this one in the bottle, it almost looked to me like this was a polish, like with glass fleck in it. It is really a shimmer. In some lights, it almost looks like a golden shimmer. But again, I really love this one. I'm going to build it up for you in 3. Again, if you prefer to just do 2 coats, you could do that. When you get the 3rd coat on, you do get closer to what you see in the bottle. But again, I absolutely love this one. This is one that I would probably wear just about any time of year. I think that it builds so beautifully, and depending on the light that I would look under, I could still see a little bit of nail line, but I absolutely love that about a polish like this. I love the way this one catches the light. I think it is perfectly named. Again, just my overall favorite from this collection. The next polish is called Bloomphoria. This is described by China Glaze as an iridescent lilac duochrome shimmer. So I am sounding repetitive here, but I am going to be building this one up for you in 3 coats. On the first coat, of course, it is very sheer. This is another polish. It is intentionally sheer, but I just love how that shimmer stands out from the first coat. This is also, it covers very evenly. The formula is very good. By the second coat here, it does build up quite a bit, and as you can see, this one does have a potential to be a little bit brush strokey. So by the 3rd coat, you will see me making sure that my brush strokes are made a little bit more, I'm going to be a little bit more careful about that, apply the polish a bit slower as I'm trying to make sure those brush strokes are nice and even. If you want to just keep it in 2 coats, you'll want to make sure your second coat is like that. But again, I really didn't hold a lot of high hopes for this polish, but I actually ended up really liking this one. It is an absolutely gorgeous shimmer. You could probably layer this over another polish. Gorgeous for spring. So I think that it's another winner, and I think for a mainstream polish, it's actually pretty unique. Next up, we have Bloominescence, described by China Glaze as a purple matte shimmer. So this is another one that indeed dries down to a matte finish. As you can see here, pretty even coverage on that first coat. I also want to mention that this one has micro shimmers in it that are fuchsia and blue, and that is what absolutely made me love this polish. It has an 80s vibe. You know I love that. So getting into the second coat, we're definitely going to build this up here. This is one where I found, at least in this swatch, I ended up needing, or at least I preferred, to put on a third coat. So I'm going to apply another coat. I think that if my first coat had been a bit thicker, I probably wouldn't have needed that. But I just felt that in the end, the third coat built the base color up better, and also gave me a better look at those shimmers, which unfortunately is showing up somewhat here in the swatch, but not as much as I would have liked. So again, I am showing you this one in 3 coats, and I'm also going to show you what it looks like with a glossy top coat, because this one dries matte, but of course you can apply a glossy top coat if you want it to be shiny. Next up, we have Secret Rendez-blue, which China Glaze describes as a majestic blue glitter. And once again, China Glaze, I love you, but I'm sorry, these descriptions. Anyway, this is one that actually ended up disappointing me a little bit. Obviously, with it being super sheer, you're not going to get necessarily exactly what you see in the bottle, but even by the second coat, I just expected the base and even to some extent the shimmer in this one to show up a bit more than it did. There is obviously like a pinkish or like a purple kind of shimmer in this, like there isn't just blue. So I really liked that, and I really hope to see a little bit more of it than I ended up seeing. So I am going to show you 3 coats here. Again, this is one that you might find looks really nice over another color if you want to use it as a topper. And I don't completely hate it here on its own in 3 coats, but I just wasn't as happy with the blue. It still ended up being a bit more sheer than even I expected. So overall, not my favorite of the collection, but it is a nice shade for spring. And the last polish is called Planted and Enchanted. China Glaze describes this as a lustrous sage green pearl. So I definitely agree with China Glaze on this one. This is a lovely sage green color. I love sage. I think it's a beautiful option for spring, but I also want to draw your attention to the blue shimmer, this blue kind of pearl shimmer that runs throughout as well. I think that this is a really interesting combination. As you can see from the first coat, it is very opaque in that first coat. This is the only one where I felt comfortable in just 2 coats, which I'm going to show you here. Again, this one can be prone to brush strokes. So with my second coat, I am taking special care to make sure my brush strokes are nice and even and straight. Overall, I love the color of this one and the color combination with the pearl, that kind of blue pearl. So I think that this one is really beautiful and a great way to wrap up this collection. There you have it. Swatches of all 8 shades from the new China Glaze Mystic Bloom collection for spring 2022. So I always put this out there. I want to know what you guys think about the collection, but some of my thoughts. So first of all, when I sat down to swatch these, I thought that I think it's these 2 here would be my favorites, Instant Sparks and Fairytale Bliss. However, when I finished swatching these, Fairytale Bliss was one of my favorites because I just really love that kind of gold shimmer that's in the pink, and it almost looks like it has, like, I don't think that it is a glass fleck, but it almost has that look to it. But then I also, Pretty As A Petal, I also really ended up loving this one. When I first sat down to swatch them, I had not read a lot on this collection, so I did not realize that this was a matte finish. And I think that China Glaze does a really good job of matte finish polishes. If I had to pick a third, Bloominescence would be my other favorite, because I feel like China Glaze has put this shade of purple out quite a bit. I do like this shade of purple, but it was the fuchsia and blue glitters in it that really set it off for me. I also think that it's really pretty that this too dries matte, and I feel like China Glaze, like I said, they put those shades in there and it's like, surprise, they're matte, and I really love that. My only issue with this one is that I did feel like I needed a third coat. Maybe once I use it a couple of times, it won't need that, but I felt like this one needed a third coat and I really shouldn't have. So I wasn't really a fan of that one. But again, you know, it's probably acceptable at 2 like you saw in the swatch, but I do tend to be picky. So I did show a third. And again, it is matte, just like Pretty As A Petal, but of course you can put top coat over them and make them glossy if you want. And also, I really like the fact in this collection in general that any of like the glitters or things that are in these are very, very finely milled. So you're not going to, I mean, there are things, you know, like I have tutorials about how it's not difficult to get bigger glitters off, but with these, you don't have to worry about that at all. So that's a plus too. But like I said, these were my two favorites in the collection. Honestly, I kind of wish the entire collection had been like this, or at the very least like this one, you know, just in different finishes. But one thing that I have always liked about China Glaze is that they do a lot of different finishes in a collection, obviously different colors, but I felt like even when you had like the different, like you have 2 purples, but obviously they're not only a different shade, but they're a different finish. And so while I tend to get attached to like a certain finish, or maybe 2 or 3, I do like the fact that China Glaze does mix it up and we're not always looking at the same thing. So I personally can't complain about that. I will say that if you are not a fan of the more sheer polishes, this may not be the collection for you. Polishes like these two, this one being Mystic Dawn and Bloomphoria, you're not going to get exactly what you see in the bottle. It was like the really pretty sheer pink from the Morgan Taylor collection. You're not going to get exactly what you see in the bottle. However, I love these because I felt like whether I swatched them at 2 or 3 coats, they were even. You get a really pretty wash of color. You could probably use these as toppers. If you are familiar with the Sinful colors, I want to say it's either Let Me Go or Bali Mist. I have both of them. I'll have to compare them, that this one reminded me of. So I tend to really like that sheer look. But again, as I stated in the swatches, just know that these are intentionally sheer, so you're not going to get them necessarily what you see in the bottle. Another thing that I really liked about this collection is that any of the shimmers or any of like the kind of flash that you see in any of the polishes, this one included, that actually when the manicure dries down, you actually get that. Like it doesn't go away, it doesn't disappear. And so I feel like China Glaze does a really good job with that as well. So overall, I'll be honest, I was not super crazy about this one. This one was Secret Rendez-blue. I really love the names in this collection, by the way. I felt like this one at 3 coats, even though again, you know, these are mostly intentionally sheer, I did feel like this one, that the color should have been built up a bit more than it was. So I was a little disappointed about that. This green one, the kind of green that has the blue in it, I thought this was really cool. This kind of reminded me of what we saw from their Extra Stellar Halloween collection this last fall. So I thought this was cool. And again, the different shift and stuff that you see, like you actually get that on the nail. That does not go away. Like when the manicure dries down, you are, in respect to that, you are getting what you see in the bottle. Just some other thoughts about, I think I've talked about almost all of them. Instant Sparks. This is the one that I thought would be one of my top favorites, and I actually do really like it because I feel like we've seen so many, and this is not just like, I don't think strictly a rose gold, but I feel like this is a really fun take on rose gold because it does kind of have that to it a little bit in the base and then with the glitters. So I thought that this was really fun. And I also really liked that when this one dried down, it didn't look like overly textured, as in like really lumpy on the nail. Like it looked really smooth. So, you know, that's a testament to them getting the formula right. So I really like that too. So those are my thoughts on the collection. I hope I haven't left anything out. Again, I would love to know what you guys think about this collection. Again, I picked mine up at Polish Pick, but I'm pretty sure anywhere where you can find China Glazes, you know, these are probably still in stock, but I recommend Polish Pick. So I will link that down below. And I will have the Jurassic Park, or it's Jurassic World collection coming up for you. That is the China Glaze collection for this summer, for summer 2022. So I will have that coming to you by this next week. I'm really excited about that one. I'm actually really excited from what I've seen in the pictures. So stay tuned for that. And as always, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.